Hi, this is Roger. This is a introductory class for my church for people who have decided to go a little bit deeper into their prayer life. Thank you for coming today. I'm happy to see that many of you are looking forward to going a little bit deeper into what we call prayer, adoration, or meditation. And in the prayer book, we define adoration as working to be in the presence of God. And in other terminology, adoration is sometimes called meditation. So we'll use the term interchangeably during our class. The first part of adoration or meditation comes through intention of wanting to be in the presence of God. And that intention is focused on our breath, because breath and breathing is a very important connection to God. In fact, when you think about it, our breath is a gift from God. We read about God's gift of breath at the creation stories in Genesis, where God breathes the whole creation into existence. We also read about the importance of breath at the Feast of Pentecost, when the church is gathered and the breath or the wind of God brings the Holy Spirit to the church. So we have been breathing since our birth. So breath is a gift of God to us for our lives. Our very living is dependent upon this gift of breath from God. So what we want to do in this course is intentionally connect our breath with our connection with God. And when we connect with God, we also have the benefits, perhaps, of better relaxation and better sleep through the time that we spend in God's presence in adoration. And so, therefore, if we're going to go forth in this type of prayer, which has been practiced by the church ever since the beginning of the church, it's been practiced since the time of Jesus when he taught his disciples how to pray this way. We are going to need to pay attention to our breath as the first step. And when I say pay attention, I mean we're going to pay attention, but we're also not going to focus on the breath exactly. We're going to kind of be an observer and watch our breathing during the process of prayer and meditation. So there are several steps in this process of watching our breath and making that connection between breath and God. And so I want you to maybe listen and kind of hear what I'm saying about some of the steps that are required and keep them in mind as we go forward in this class today and as we go forward in the class in the days and the weeks to come. First of all, our breathing needs to be from the diaphragm, diaphragmatically breathing. And I think most of you are familiar with it, but we don't always practice it. So let's practice it right now. Put your hand on your diaphragm or your belly, and let's do some breathing through the nose only. We're going to breathe in, moving that diaphragm muscle. And as that muscle moves, our hand is going to go out as an indication that we're actually moving the muscle. And then as we breathe, exhale, the hand is going to go in. So try that diaphragmatic breathing for a couple of breaths here through the nose, and close your eyes because we're going to be closing our eyes during our meditation practice generally. Good. I think you're getting the hang of it. Now, let's try something a little bit different. Let's try another experiment. So, when we're breathing diaphragmatically, what we're doing is we're bringing more oxygen into our lungs and therefore into our system. We're breathing more energy into our bodies by breathing deeply. So let's try this. Sit on the edge of your chair now and sit straight with your hands on your thighs. Perhaps you could put your hands upward as an invitation for the Spirit or God to come into your life, into your heart, and place them at the junction of where your legs meet your abdomen and rest them there gently. Keep your chin pretty much parallel to the floor if you can. And we're going to try a couple more diaphragmatic breaths without the hand on the chest. So close your eyes and try that. Did you notice anything? Is it easier to breathe that way? Chances are it was, because the straighter we sit, the easier it is for our diaphragm to move. We're not so much using our chest muscles in moving, breathing, we're using our diaphragm. So we sit straight for adoration or meditation. It makes it easier for us to breathe. Okay, next, breath, we have to understand, is our connection with spirit. And spirit and breath are interconnected. In fact, in many languages, the word for spirit and breath are the same. In Hebrew, it's ruah, meaning spirit or breath. And so, as we breathe, what is happening in our bodies energetically is that the energy is coming into our lungs and is circulating through our bodies, and the energy moves up through our back along energy channels along the side of our spine. So if our spine is straight, these energy channels are also straight and the energy flows easier. And that energy, of course, is life. So we want that energy to be flowing up. We don't have to pay attention to it, just kind of be aware that that's what's happening. Now, we're going to watch our breath. And we do that in a couple of different ways. The first way is that I just want you to take a couple sniffs right now and be aware of the air entering your nose and feel the air coming into your nasal passage. Now, in meditation, what we're going to do is we're going to watch that air coming in and out of our nasal passage. We're going to watch the flow. We want to find where it is in the nose or the nasal passage that the air can be sensed. Perhaps it'll be at the very base, perhaps it'll be in further, and it changes as our meditation practice changes. But be aware of that, not the point where the air passes in our nasal passage, but be aware of the flow. It's kind of like standing in the river and the water is flowing around you. That's what you want to be aware of. So let's kind of try that again. Let's close our eyes, put our hands there on our hips or joint of the legs and the abdomen. Close our eyes, and this time pay attention to where you can feel the air going in and out of your nose. Keep your mouth closed and your eyes closed. Are you getting an idea? Just kind of watch your airflow. All right, great. Now, let me say one more thing about our eyes. During our meditation adoration, our eyes are going to be closed. And one of the things we want to do is we want to have our eyes closed, but we want to be looking up a little bit, not straining up like this, but just looking up. Like if you put your hand out in front of you at arm's length and your head about this, your hand about that level, you want to look at the thumb, top of the thumb, and close your eyes and keep your eyes in that position. That's what we mean by keeping our eyes looking up. We'll learn more about why we do that in a couple of minutes. All right. Now, to help us with our watching our breath, we use a mantra. Now, mantra is a word that's often used in meditation classes and so forth. We can use that word too, but we also can think of mantra as being a prayer, more particularly a breath prayer. And for this technique we're teaching today, we're going to be using two syllables. We're going to be using the syllables hong and saw. And basically, those syllables mean I am spirit. And it reminds us that we are spirit with a body, not bodies, but our souls are spirit. We are immortal. We have this spirit. And that's what we're reminding ourselves of. So we're going to use this mantra in this way. When we breathe in, we're going to think Hong, and we breathe out, we're going to think Saw. It's only a thinking process, not a lip process, not a tongue process, only a thinking process. So let's try that now. So close your eyes, gaze up, hands in the proper position, and start breathing. Take a couple of normal breaths. We're not controlling the breath. Our body knows how to breathe, so trust the body, trust God, and just breathe. On the inhale, think Hong. On the exhale, Saw. Now remember, you're watching your breath during this. This is the primary purpose of the Hong Saw, is to help focus our breath, the flow of the breath through our nasal capacity passages. So try that again with Hong and Saw, watching the breath. Eyes uplifted. Now we have another little trick we can add because sometimes our mind wants to wander around all over the place. And one little trick we have is with our fingers. And so with our hands on our laps, as we think Hong, just move your index finger a little bit towards the palm, just a little bit, just slight movement on Hong and Saw. It goes back. Hong, Saw. We can make this into a little bit of a spiritual thought, but we'll talk about that in later class. Right now, it's just focusing on the Hong and the Saw so we can focus better on our breath. So let's try that. Hands back in your laps, eyes closed, gazing upwards, mouth closed. Start normal breathing, not controlling your breath. Just let your breath flow. Take a couple of breaths, focusing on the breath, bringing that concentration there. Adding the Hong and the Saw. And now adding the finger movement. Finger in towards the palm on Hong, out on Saw. Focus on the flow of the air, not the point, the flow. God's breath coming in and out, bringing life and spirit. Okay, I think we're doing good. Now, let's put all of this together, and we're going to sit in silence for just a little bit longer. And one of the things we also need to think about, remember I said that we're going to be gazing up here, with our hand out here like this? So this center part in between our eyebrows is called the Christ center in much of meditation language. So we're going to call it, think about it as the Christ center. Some people call it the spiritual eye. Jesus talks about the spiritual eye, and we can explore that in scripture a little bit later. But this is an important part in our meditation technique. So we're bringing this energy up towards the spiritual eye. Not you need to worry about it. It's going to happen naturally when it comes. Right now, we're still focused on this air movement and the Hong and the Saw. I am spirit moving the finger to help us. Okay, so let's start. Check your sitting position on the edge of the chair, straight, chin parallel to the ground, hands at the junction of the abdomen and legs, eyes closed, uplifted, not straining, just gently uplifted. As your breathing is starting to slow down now, start paying attention to where the air is passing in your nose. The flow of air in and out. You are spirit. Now add the breath prayer, Hong Sa. Now add the finger movement to help in that focus. Check your posture. Check your eye position. Follow your air. Okay, I think we're doing good. So we're practiced it. We're going to go and we're going to do some more sitting meditation a little bit later, but that's the basic directions. I hope that's helpful for you. I'm looking forward to going further with you in this process, and we'll be looking more at some of the spiritual aspects of the process that we are learning. So thanks for being here, and we will continue on as we practice this prayer and adoration technique. God bless.